Her male best friend mocked me. "Stop pretending you're one of us. A guy like you doesn't even belong in our circle." I punched him in front of everyone. My girlfriend said, "Apologize to my friend, or get out." I replied, "You're right." They all laughed as I quietly walked away. A month later, her smug smile faded instantly when she found out I had become the boss of her friends. It happened at a dinner with my girlfriend's friends. They were all loud, dressed like they were in a commercial, talking about work, travel, and money. I sat there quiet, trying to fit in. Then her male best friend looked at me and said, "Stop pretending you're one of us. A guy like you doesn't belong in our circle." Everyone laughed. She didn't say anything. I looked at him, stood up, and punched him in the face. The room went silent. My girlfriend shouted, "Apologize to my friend or get out." I wiped my hand, looked at her, and said, "You're right." Then I walked away while they laughed behind me. I didn't turn back. That was the night everything changed. I walked out into the cold air, hands still shaking, not from the punch, but from what she said. The silence outside felt louder than their laughter. I looked at my bruised knuckles and thought, it didn't hurt when I hit him. It hurt when she didn't say anything. That was the moment I realized I wasn't angry. I was done. Her name was Lena. We met at a birthday dinner. She said I made her feel calm, different from the loud, arrogant men she knew. For a while it worked, until calm started to feel boring to her, but over time the tone changed. She started making comments. "You should dress better. Maybe trade your car for something newer. Don't be so quiet when we're out." She said it like a joke, but it didn't feel like one. When we went out with her friends, I always felt out of place. They talked about brand deals, vacations, and fancy restaurants. I didn't have anything to add. I worked as a systems engineer. My life was normal, stable. I was proud of that, but to them it sounded boring. The first few times she would squeeze my hand under the table like she wanted me to know it was okay. After a while, she stopped. She started joining their jokes. One night after dinner, I told her I felt uncomfortable around them. She said, "You're overthinking it. They're just confident people. You should try being more like that." That sentence stuck with me. She didn't want me to be myself. She wanted me to fit into her world. I kept trying, showing up, smiling, pretending I fit in. But every time I did, I felt smaller, more like a quiet accessory she brought to balance the noise. Looking back, I should have walked away earlier. But when you love someone, you try to make it work. You tell yourself it's just a phase. You think they'll come back to the person they were when you met them. The truth is, she didn't change overnight. I just ignored the signs. The week before that dinner, she told me, "I want you to meet everyone. You've never really connected with my group." I said, "Sure." She spent 2 days picking out my outfit. She wanted me to look sharp. She said, "They can be a little judgmental, so just try to keep up." I laughed, but deep down I knew that wasn't a joke. When we arrived, everyone was already there. Her friends hugged her, complimented her dress, then turned to me and smiled, that fake smile people give when they've already made up their minds about you. The only one who spoke to me was her best friend, the guy she swore was like a brother. He asked what I did for work, then said, "Oh, so you're the technical type. Not really a people person, huh?" The others laughed. I smiled politely, said nothing. Lena didn't defend me. She just said, "He's shy." That word bothered me. I wasn't shy. I was just tired of conversations that meant nothing. The rest of the night, they kept taking small shots about my car, my job, the way I talked. I kept my cool. I thought maybe it would end soon. Then her best friend leaned forward and said the line that crossed the line, "Stop pretending you're one of us. A guy like you doesn't belong in our circle." That's when I realized I was done trying to belong. When I stood up and hit him, it wasn't about anger. It was about respect of mine. When she told me to apologize, that's when it became clear. She wasn't on my side. She never was. I left that night knowing something ended for good. I didn't know what would come next. But I knew one thing: I'd never sit at a table like that again. The next morning, she texted me saying I embarrassed her. Then another one came in, that I overreacted, that her friend was just joking, that I should fix things. I read them all once, locked my phone, and went to work. There wasn't anything left to fix. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat there thinking about every moment I'd tried to fit into her world, the clothes, the smiles, the pretending. Somewhere between the quiet and the exhaustion, I decided I didn't need to prove anything anymore. If they couldn't see my worth, I'd build a life where they'd have to look up to find it. Work helped. I buried myself in it. The less I thought about her, the lighter everything felt. I stopped checking her Instagram. I didn't want to see the same rooftop pictures, the same fake smiles. She could keep that world. I was done trying to fit into it. A week passed, then 2. She stopped texting. I didn't block her. I just stopped caring. And somehow that felt better than closure. Then my boss called me into his office one morning. He said the company was expanding and wanted me to lead a new project, and a big one. I said yes right away. I needed something to focus on. That project became everything. I worked late, learned fast, and started feeling like myself again. For the first time in a long time, I was proud of what I was doing. A few weeks later, a new designer joined our team. Her name was Maya. She was funny in a quiet way, not loud, not fake, just real. We started talking during lunch. She'd tease me about eating the same sandwich every day. I'd tell her her coffee smelled like burnt rubber. It was easy. One night we were both staying late. She saw the small scar on my hand and asked what happened. I told her bad night. She smiled and said, "Looks like you won." I told her not that night, later. She laughed, and for the first time I laughed too. Work filled the silence, and slowly the pain turned into progress. By the time the merger was announced, I wasn't thinking about her anymore. I didn't react right away. I just smiled a little. My boss looked at me like he was waiting for a question, but I didn't have one. I said, "Got it. I'll handle it." That night I sat at home, opened my laptop, and checked the list of team members from their side. Her name was right there, along with the guy I hit. I leaned back, stared at the screen, and laughed. Not because I wanted revenge, but because life had a weird sense of humor. A few months ago, they laughed while I walked away. Now I was the one they'd be reporting to. The day of the first meeting came fast. I walked into the conference room with my laptop and a cup of coffee, same as any other morning. I didn't look around right away, just checked the projector and waited for everyone to come in. Then I heard a voice I hadn't heard in months. Hers. She walked in with her team, talking to someone, laughing about something. When she saw me standing there, she stopped mid-sentence. Her smile froze. The guy I punched was right behind her. He saw me, blinked, and looked away like he'd seen a ghost. My manager started introductions. "Everyone, this is Evan. He'll be leading the transition process between both companies." He said it like it was nothing, like he hadn't just dropped a bomb in the middle of the room. I nodded, said hi, kept my tone even. "Glad to have you all here." No one spoke for a second. Then they mumbled a few awkward hellos and sat down. I started the meeting, went through the slides, deadlines, the usual business stuff. The room was quiet. Every time I spoke, no one interrupted. Every time I asked a question, they scrambled to answer. Funny how respect shows up when titles change. At one point I looked at him, the same guy who told me I didn't belong. He was fidgeting, flipping through his notes, trying not to make eye contact. I asked Ryan, "Can you go over your section on the campaign data?" He nodded too fast and messed up the numbers halfway through. I didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then I said, "Make sure the data is correct before you send it over. We can't afford mistakes this early." He nodded again, red in the face. I moved on like nothing happened. But inside, yeah, it felt good. Lena stayed quiet the whole time. She took notes, didn't look up once. I didn't either. I kept it professional, short, clean. The meeting ended faster than expected. When everyone got up to leave, I stayed behind to pack up my stuff. She waited until the room was empty, then walked over. "Evan, can we talk?" I looked at her. "Sure." She stood there for a few seconds like she was trying to find the right words. "I didn't know your company was part of this merger," she said. "Yeah," I said. "Small world." She nodded, still looking uncomfortable. "About that night?" She started. I was stupid. I should have said something. It's fine," I cut in. "That was a long time ago. I didn't mean to hurt you," she said quietly. "You didn't," I replied. "You just made things clear." "That helped." She looked down, then back at me. "You've changed." "Not really," I said. "I just stopped trying to fit where I didn't belong." She didn't say anything. For a second, she looked like she wanted to ask something else, maybe if I was seeing someone, but she didn't. Then the guy, Ryan, came back in to grab his phone. He saw us talking and said, "Hey, we're heading out." He still didn't look at me. She nodded, hesitated, then said softly, Maybe we could catch up sometime. I smiled a little. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? She asked. Different circles, I said. She froze for a second when she heard that, the same words her friend once said to me. Then she nodded, pretending it didn't sting, and walked out. When she left, I noticed her old silver bracelet still lying on the table, the one she used to spin around her wrist whenever she was nervous. I didn't call after her. I just placed it by her chair and walked away. Some things don't need to be returned. Some endings don't need words. When I walked out of the building later, the air felt lighter. I wasn't thinking about the past anymore. I was thinking about what was next. That night, Maya texted me asking if I wanted to grab dinner. I said sure, and as I headed out to meet her, it hit me. Sometimes you don't need revenge. Life already handles it for you. After the merger, she left quietly. I didn't feel anger, just closure. Life moved on. Maya and I grew closer. For the first time in years, peace felt real. One Friday night, we went for ramen after work. She talked about random things, her dog, her old apartment, how she once broke her phone trying to take a photo of the moon. I caught myself laughing more than I used to. She noticed. You're different lately, she said. Yeah, I said. Feels lighter, she smiled. Good, you deserve that. That was the first time I realized I was happy again, not because of someone else, but because I'd finally stopped holding on to something that was already gone. Months later, at the company's annual event, Maya and I went together. I didn't think much of it until I saw Lena across the room. She was there as a guest from another agency. She froze for a second when she saw us. I just nodded politely. She gave a small smile, the kind you give when you're trying to hide regret. I didn't go over. I didn't need to. Maya was next to me, laughing about something one of our co-workers said, completely unaware of who Lena was. I liked that. It reminded me how far I'd come, from someone trying to prove I belonged, to someone who didn't need to anymore. Later that night, as we were leaving, Maya leaned her head on my shoulder and said, "You look peaceful." "I am," I said. "What changed?" "Everything," I told her. "Mostly me." We walked outside, the air cool, the city lights reflecting off the street. For a second I thought about that night months ago. The table, the laughter, her voice telling me to apologize. It felt like someone else's life now. I wasn't angry about it anymore. If anything, I was grateful. That moment forced me to start over. It pushed me to build something real without trying to impress anyone. Before heading home, Maya grabbed my hand and said, "You ever think about the people who made you this way?" "Sometimes," I said. "But not for long," she smiled. Good answer, and that was it. No big speech, no perfect ending. Just quiet happiness. Some people will only respect you when the world tells them to. But real strength is when you stop needing their respect at all. I didn't win because I became their boss. I won because I finally stopped caring to belong.